top lane. I would imagine that if the time calls for it and they feel like it works in the drafts, they might as well, as we are moving on to 14.13 for this week of the LCK.
I just want to say, Breon did win a game against KT. And guess what KT did? Beat T1. So that's something that maybe they can hope to emulate today. Just an individual game, and I think will mean a lot for this team. They've only gotten 3 so far, which is not a whole lot.
Yeah.
One of those was against DRX, which is obviously a while back. That was in week 1. So for the bros, big ask here today, going up against T1.
Well, if they beat the team that beat T1, maybe there is an angle.
It was just one game. It was one game.
They beat them one game, and KT was able to beat entirely T1.
Yeah.
So, it kind of rises in power. Bro should be much better than T1.
I'm seeing these faces, Valdez, and I'm getting scared. I don't see the vibe that I think you're looking for. This is looking like the vibe of a team that knows who they're up against, which is T1. And T1, when they're better than you by a substantial margin, the games aren't great. Gen G at least gives you like 10-15 minutes to sometimes play around a little bit. T1, not necessarily the case as we take a look at the stats here. Yeah, Youngjae, that kill participation, that's a bad thing. Not
it's
from him.
so much higher than owners, though. Wow.
Not from Youngjae individually, I want to highlight that. But that's not great, guys. That's a sign that no one else is really getting anything going on the map at any point. And Youngjae is having individually, I think, the best time on this roster.
Well, if Owner's doing a little bit of downloading of the new, firmware,
yeah,
that's not something you see very often. It has spread to other members of T1. Generally, it's only Faker, but as I mentioned before, these guys just got off a plane yesterday, so it's rough. There's jet lag. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of just exhaustion potentially. So
yeah,
like I said, if Bro were going to strike, this would be the time. T1 are currently weak.
We can also keep a kind of an ongoing throughout the day check on how you are feeling, because it probably mirrors it pretty nicely as...
Oh my God. It's Yasuo. Does he see the Yasuo right there? I mean, it's really close to his face.
Yeah, he's
just going to close his eyes.
We can only see this because Faker is imagining it. So, like, this image is not done by production. This is Faker projecting it with his spiritual power.
He is creating the image in all of our mind's eye.
I mean, I'm your weeby friend. I got to explain the anime stuff to you, Valdez.
I mean, it kind of looks that way. That was really cool. A very nice job by, obviously, Faker, not production. No, production, good job. Guma looking very awake. I do wonder how many cups of coffee. So far for me, it's 1.
Yeah.
But that
saving the second one.
That won't be the final one of the day, I'll tell you that. And that was, a couple of shots of espresso, that is.
In case you're wondering, by the way, Faker played Yasuo at PWC in the final game of the tournament, which is why we got the cool one. And also, it's Faker playing Yasuo. It's just, it's exciting. It's cool.
Yeah, and Faker did also get the MVP of the entire tournament. A lot of people were saying that Keria should have gotten it. For a good reason, I think his play in the finals was also spectacular. It was going to be between one of those two, right? But Faker eventually did pick up the MVP. Keria also playing really well nowadays. He did have a big Bard game up against BLG, and certainly feels like he's really in a good spot mechanically. I do think that some of the decisions that are being made can be questioned a little bit, sometimes very over-aggressive from Keria, but at the end of the day, maybe he's just channeling his inner barrel, which is just fine, as we know.
Especially now that, KT got their wins. If this was channeling your inner barrel of the last couple of weeks was maybe a bit rough, we'll see. I am sure that T1 is going to maintain their high level of flexibility in draft. For me, the main question is going to be to what extent can Breon play their own style? As the fans, happy and ready as always.
Yeah. Just saying, obviously a big T1 fan, and basically T1 is life, I think is the vibe of that sign. And you know what? I suppose for a lot of people they are. Let's jump into the draft for game number 1.
I was waiting for a poetic.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just out of it.
I was ready.
I am so out of it. Lee Sin, global band, by the way. Well, we're just not going to see him. We do have Renekton and Senna and Rumble taken away. Rumble, definitely the biggest ban that we see nowadays, especially on the red side.
As we are, again, trending towards Corki Tristana, it's one more patch cycle. They are on the chopping block for the next patch. Hopefully that will be enough. I don't think that this time around it's going to be a thing, as the respect ban towards the Renekton I really appreciate from T1 here. The Lord will still be given his due respect. Tristana, in my opinion, definitely the standout between the two picks. So I imagine that's what T1 wants to go toward, also doesn't really lock you into anything specifically, and we'll see what Pool Bay is going to bring out here. Was most known for his aggressive playstyle in Challengers. Obviously had a really strong top side to go with him, and there is, that shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah,
is it just
I mean,
quirky?
it's not a surprise, and I guess the idea is that, okay, if we give them Tristana, we play Corki. As you're mentioning, Chronicler, but at the same time, it does feel like over the last bunch of weeks, Tristana has come out ahead most of the time, right? It just feels like in terms of overall impact on the map, not just talking about laning phase generally pretty even. What she's able to do, especially pushing side lanes and how she scales, is just kind of insane.
Azrael making its way through here as well. For Envy. Envy still starting. We did see some experiments with Semper early on, but he has been the mainstay for a good amount of time now. We'll see what is going to be the setup here. Imagine that T1 don't feel too pressured to pick up an AD carry for Guma here. They can, obviously, but he plays a whole lot of champions. One of the saving graces of this patch is that Skarner has in fact been... He's been hit. He's been hit pretty hard, which I think is great. The unfortunate thing is that Cassante is still there, so now he's just riding alone in top lane, outside of the Rumble, which obviously has already been taken away.
Yeah, I think that Cassante, because of that, is in a really awesome spot, as we are going to be seeing the Zyra in the jungle here for Youngjae. Now, Owner has picked Nidalee into Zyra multiple times, did it at EWC as well. I think that it's got a good matchup. You can put on a lot of pressure in the jungle, not allow the Zyra to go kind of insane with her farm speed, and it just feels like kind of a very controlling jungle pick, especially when you're facing that Zyra. So, you know, I get that they want that AP jungler, one of the top ones, but I think that Owner could have a fun time in this jungle matchup.
It does work well with the trough that Brianna has, where you can lean into more of a poke style, and it makes it hard for the enemies to engage due to the Zyra existing. That is a poke style as Brion, I think, is unfortunately not something that I think right now they're going to be capable of pulling off consistently. Would love to just see a tank top laner, right? Just pick something beefy up. I think Poppy is a great example. You could obviously still theoretically flex this towards Paulo, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Poppy is a consistent front, as we do see the Caitlyn Brum come back again. Was something that the Caitlyn for Guma should not be a surprise, and the Brom, as already mentioned in pre-show, has really risen in priority with how insanely prevalent these engage reports have been. I'm wondering if they just want to go for Karma here, which, when it comes to the execution, is a bit rough, but it should provide you a good amount of shove. It goes well together with the Ezreal, because my problem with this is that it just doesn't feel like playing an engage report into something like the Brom Caitlyn is really going to go very well.
Yeah.
Unless you find like a really, really solid early all-in, I just don't think realistically that's something that you can consistently hit. The Karma, I think, would have tied the composition nicely together. Obviously, your engage would be really subpar, but I think for Brion, what they saw is we need something simple. Engage reports fit into that bill. I'm worried, though. I think this is a draft that is very hard to execute, and I think T1 got basically everything that they'd want, realistically, outside of having Engage, which is T1. They're just gonna They
Yeah.
find a way to start fights nonetheless, and they've done Italy for poke as well.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting nowadays, just with all of the AD carries and kind of frontliners that don't provide engage but provide a lot of defense for your kind of squishy core. It does feel like we are seeing a little bit less engage in some of these drafts week by week. So, yeah, you know, the Cassante as well can kind of just, you know, put himself in there, force fights by being very annoying and getting on top of people. And we do have a lot of Bro fans still in the audience cheering for the potential of, you know, King Morgan to come in here, Lord Morgan, to get a win, an upset win up against T1. But in this first draft, we're definitely liking T1's angle to start off this series. As OK Savings Bank Breon, see the Ezreal, see the Corki, a lot of top picks. We'll see if it's enough to get them across the line. Let's hop into the rift for game number 1.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we go. Oh, well, that's a spear to get us started. And we'll see how this does continue. Polbay just going to back out of here.
I think actually getting a good chunk here early on against Guma. We'll see what Youngjae's pathing is going to be. Also do note that Polbay was able to just get it back in, so nothing too much of note happening here. With Brom, you can always go for delayed invades. His level 1 is one of the best in the game with his passive, but doesn't look like that's actually going to be the case. Youngjae, unfortunately, one of the plants spawning near the turret. And not ideal. I don't think it'll matter that much. I've seen Zyra just power farm and clear in like 3 minutes something nonetheless. We will have Morgan taking a peek here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what he's going to be able to do outside of a little bit of harass. Nidalee doesn't really care too much about that. And Youngjae, as you mentioned, not really too concerned about the plants spawning in the wrong place, because eventually he just is able to place them himself, and he will farm extremely fast. It doesn't really matter. As Zyra, the only person to win on Zyra in the LCK so far is Canyon. And Zyra's still a really good pick. I don't want people to see that and be like, hey, I guess that means that only Canyon can play it. Canyon is exceptional as a jungler, and Genji are a great team, but Zyra's still a very strong pick. As, by the way, Guma has only lost 1 game on Caitlyn.
Shouldn't come as a big surprise if you have seen T1 play before. Guma is Caitlyn. It doesn't get pulled out too often, but whenever it does feel like it really hits the spot. Trying to maintain that, you know, Death Jinx win rate of like a year or 2 ago, it did really take a big beating at some point.
Polbay?
Polbay is, just going to flash, and obviously the player really struggling, but it also again beckons the question.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just walked back into auto range.
Yeah, I have no idea why he did that.
So
And so the walking in is obviously very egregious, but it also beckons again the question: did we really have to give Tristana over again?
no, that shouldn't have happened.
I don't
honestly.
think we should have.
Although giving Ashe to T1 is really scary as well. I think the other ban that had to be the Tristana ban was the Sejuani.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because Owner can play a lot of stuff. He can play Nidalee. He is going to he's going to do a lot of Nidalee playing in the bottom lane, I think, here in this game. Especially based on the path that Youngjae has taken towards the top side of the map. We already see a little bit of pressure, but he's not going to overcommit. So here we go again. Polbay going to lose the trade in a huge way. And the thing about Polbay is that he's a great player, but I think he really struggles with nerves. And here in this first game, I think we're seeing a little bit of that already. I remember I was actually doing the Challengers co-stream for Bro, and he had like this huge pop-off performance in 2 games actually, and he went into the interview and he was just so nervous. He didn't really say much, right? But we know he's exceptional as a player, so I do wonder if some of those nerve issues can affect some of his gameplay, especially up against a guy like Faker.
I think it's obvious, right? Like, I think the initial trade and the flash is fine. Walking back in, that's something that that shouldn't happen. Youngjae, this is the the core issue, I think, as to why we see so many Zyra struggle is like once you start falling behind.
Youngjae's going to take a huge amount of damage. He steps on a trap, so the extended range for the Nidalee goes in, and Owner and Faker just bullying Youngjae in between turrets.
Might be able to do something here.
Well, Paulo's going to miss his stun, and now he's in a lot of trouble. The Ignite comes down, and they get pushed away as Keria is able to push past the turret himself. And already this game is off the rails, Chronicler.
Yeah, T1 with a lead is not a very fun interactive experience to play into. Unfortunately, it's 1.5K at 5 minutes. Veldas,
Yeah.
This wave is going to get lost. Youngjae isn't really going to be allowed to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, bro, they're in a spot where, yes, they had a week off, they had time to iterate and stuff, but generally that doesn't help nearly as much as going to an international tournament and downloading all the newest data from all the best teams around the world, you know? And I feel like some of those drafts that we saw in EWC look a lot like this one from T1, and they're already...
Oh, Youngjae, yeah. Unfortunately, the moment you get hit by that spear, that's just the end of it.
Did he get hit by the spear?
I think.
Kind of looked like he stepped on the trap nearby, but maybe not.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Maybe just a weird hitbox and it was the spear. Because it was a lot of damage.
Well, that's my point. I think it was because the first time when I watched it happen live, I thought it didn't hit.
Yeah.
Now looking at the chunk that was done, I don't know. It might have been a Tristana damage. It doesn't really matter, right? The moment that Faker shows up there, you should have an inkling that Owner's going to be nearby as well. And they did actually have a window there, I think. If they rotate Envy and Paulo up, I don't think it's likely that Brion is going to just win skirmishes against T1, but at the very least it would have been playable as Paulo should be able to get out, but Faker's chasing.
Yeah, Faker is chasing. He knows he has that prompt to try to set up,
Remember.
but now he's going to ult Morgan away as Morgan taking a ton of damage. Faker just frontlining as Tristana doesn't care. And as you mentioned, they are down a member, so T1 certainly getting in there and trying to make their case, but eventually it's a double kill for Pulbay.
I gotta say, Morgan actually with a great roam there. The reason why that play works is just because they're up a good amount of people. Really digs Pulbay out of the hole that he was in as well. Like, these kills are really, really big because otherwise the lane would have been, like, truly completely unplayable. It's still not in a good spot, don't get me wrong. Faker is still up a kill, which kind of offsets the CS lead. Faker also is sitting on a call, so I don't think the 1v1's going to look a lot better, but it does mean Pulbay at least is relevant. And that's the T1 we were talking about. Down a member, and they're like, we can out-hands it. It's fine, we can make it work. And to be fair, like it's a one for two trade in the grand scheme of things. That's still not too bad. They are really playing as aggressive as humanly possible.
Yeah. You know, I think T1 coming to this matchup and they know they're the big favorites and they're playing like it, but sometimes that gets T1 in trouble. We'll see if it gets them in trouble here as Keria will be fine. He holds up the door. As Owner, he's level 6. He's putting on a lot of pressure just by himself. As yes, the engage came in, but the follow-up was not quite there for Bro. Meanwhile, we have this 1v1 in the bot lane, which Guma is absolutely stomping.
Yeah, we hadn't really talked about this yet because there was a lot more pressing matters on the map. Yeah, Guma is up a large amount of gold. Like a large amount of gold. And I don't
How large?
Yeah, well, very large, Valdes. Caught me off guard at the very least. And I think that as long as Envy is in that isolated 1v1 and Keria is just roaming around the map, you're gonna look to simultaneously get your own jungler ahead. As that's... Oh, he got it.
He actually got it, but he's also going to get his death here. You're not getting away from this Nidalee that has flash as the root does come in. And no, not the disengage cone, please. It's a disengage.
Oh, despair.
Oh, no, he's going to get away. Why is that cone there? Just to save his life for no reason. Shouldn't exist. Well, it was a nice play from Owner anyway.
To the dismay of Brendan Valdes, Youngjae makes it out. As a jungler, I'm like, oh god, he didn't get killed by Nidalee. I'm not too sad. I think Youngjae is struggling enough as is. But he still got the rep buff, you know. Owner flashed, which I think Owner's play was great there. Obviously, just shy of lacking the damage. Actually, if he got the rep buff, that might have been enough to be able to get the kill with the extra debuff and the fact that Youngjae wouldn't be healing. So do take a look at the CS per minute here. That's the one thing that Morgan did have to give up. I think with that roam did fall about a wave behind. has to enable the rest of his team. But the game state really isn't that bad. That doesn't mean that much, but it's nice.
It's
you
not
know?
good, but it's not that bad.
It's not that bad, Val.
Could be worse.
And that's a win for Brion.
Yeah.
Because the 1.5K that they were behind at 5 minutes, that's still kind of the same. That's where we're at. It hasn't gotten worse, and I think that's a win.
It is. It actually is. You know, jokes aside, I think that T1 have really been trying hard to continue with their lead and put on as much pressure as possible. But at the end of the day, Bro have been able to stabilize a little bit, and, you know, they're still behind, but they're not getting farther behind, which is really the main key thing here. I think that double kill over to Polbey is going to be extremely helpful for keeping them at least in parity with what Faker might be able to do. But we do know what Tristana can do anyway. As Guma, meanwhile, up 24 CS, is still by himself down on the bottom side. As Faker just going to jump away from that one. I feel like the zoom in is like Jonas Strong expecting Faker to jump in. Because sometimes he just does that.
Like flash ult, Polbey.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have surprised me, especially with how Faker has played in Tristana. Really, even going back to like MSI, there was a lot of Faker just being like, no, I'd win. And then he doesn't, but he just keeps going for it. Just keeps going in. As Morgan, this is Poppy, notoriously hard to dive, but I do think that they have the tools.
He does have his ult. He is going to knock the Nidalee away, and that should be enough.
Well, he's still going to lose the turret.
Yeah.
So it's something. They got grubs.
5 grubs. Not bad. It's going to deny it from Tristana, which I feel like is the biggest thing. But at the end of the day, now they're trying to dive onto Zeus, even a TP, and there's 4 people here against Cassante. Surely they just kill him, right? As a lot of damage is going into Youngjae and Paulo, and now Owner is here. Zeus still alive, as the damage will eventually take him down, but Owner is just feasting on the members of Bro that are behind this turret. As Faker is here as well, a jump over the top. Faker looking for another kill as an ult goes into the Poppy, and now Faker's jumping in again. And Envy here by himself has to flash away. Very nice ult himself, nearly takes off Faker's head, but is not going to be able to. At least he gets away alive.
Meanwhile, Gumek continues playing he's actually playing Swarm, the new game mode where you just PvE. Very interesting stuff here from Guma. That was a bit of, I know that they ended up getting the kill, but that was a bit of a disaster of a dive, unfortunately, for Brion. What are you doing? It's fine, he's Braum, he doesn't care.
I guess he's holding the wave. Yeah, that makes sense. And Polbey thinks he can kill him. That's not going to happen, so he's just going to flash away.
It's fine, he is Valkyrie.
Yeah.
So that top dive was, they weren't able to actually chain the CC, which is hard against Cassante, to be fair. When we take another look, Zayas actually lived for so much longer, and reinforcements are very much on the way. So he doesn't get hit by the root. Then Morgan knocks him into the wall, but also knocks him out of the Zyra ult. And then as a result, Morgan takes like 2 extra turret shots, and it ends up being a bit of a dust. This was really cute from Faker here, jumping over already, knowing that he would get the reset, and then having the extra damage available. This was really nicely done by Envy, actually, getting the pre-buffer before he flashed, meaning that if he did just a little bit more gold, that could have been good as there. Look at this is a Tristana with flash. No buster shot, though. Could be a moment.
All right, there's the flash. Nicely done, and the hop is going to be canceled. Faker, he's just pushing forward. He knows he's dead, but trying to take out Envy here might be able to. The flash forward, and he will be punished for that. As down he will go. Plate's still up, by the way, as Guma collects another one in the mid lane.
I can't believe they're still up. It feels like this is one of those games where Plate should have gone down a while back. And Guma just continuing to PvE.
Oh, no.
He's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. Just gets stunned by Braum. Doesn't respect the Braum. You have to respect that stun coming through. The second that goes down, a trap right under you, and you're not getting away. So Polbey's dead. Once again.
Mid lane turret's going to fall as well. I think Guma's goal was to get as many plates as possible. Maybe he watched Games Done Quick, you know, last week. He's trying to get the speed running.
It's on replay now, by the way.
Yeah, he's not.
What's going on here? It's just going to kill the Ezreal, as there was so much damage done to him by Guma that Zeus was like, yeah, I guess I just kill him.
You know what's the word? Look at that!
Yeah.
The worst part for me about this is that even with everything that's happened in this game, I feel like T1 is legitimately just looking at us like, guys, come on, I wanna get through this. We gotta get those turrets down as soon as we can.
It's a day at work.
It really is.
Than,
They're playing with reckless abandon. Here, Faker trying to get the flash in to get that final auto, which I don't even think would have been enough. But it's, as we said, Faker just going very ham. And here, Pool Bay, just the moment you get stunned, even without Nidalee Trap, I'm pretty sure he would have ended up dying. But, or without the Nidalee Spear, rather, after the trap comes through.
Yeah.
They're just, Breon just can't do anything. It just feels so futile.
Yeah.
Valdez, they're 8k down.
There's not a lot of finesse in this game either. I feel like T1, you know, they're not using the scalpel in this one. They're using the giant sledgehammer. And they're just kind of swinging it in giant arcs towards Bro. And you know what? It's working. It's getting the damage down. There are a couple of Drakes that did go to Bro. But, you know, Cloud Soul coming through, and T1 are still 8,000 gold ahead nearly. So at the end of the day, I don't think they're going to be stacking up many more Drakes in this game, let's say.
Both inners are gone on the side lanes, Valdez. We're 15 minutes in. They don't have inners. That's not okay. That's, oh, man.
Yeah. It's not okay. Well, now we're TPing behind Pol Bay, who didn't realize that there was a ward there. Now, TPs are coming in from Bro as the stun is going to hit. The spear is not going to hit as a massive Magnet Storm is going to get the front line of T1 as they will be punished for their happy gaming. Bro, get in there and clean up a couple of them. And what can they get off of this is really the main question.
Oh, if this coincided with a Baron 4 minutes from now, that could have been a moment. If it coincides with another objective, but instead I think they're going to be happy. You know, they take a little bit of gold, but they're not getting the bounties. They're not really swinging the gold in a meaningful way. Just getting a couple of kills. Nicely done by Breon to get the reinforcement squad at the ready for Pool Bay, who looks like he has overstepped. Ends up not working out for T1. So we do see here, this is because there is no inner, they feel like they can go for plays like this, but there's not a whole lot of actual damage here. The spear from Owner doesn't actually hit. Nice cancel, like on the pullback there from Zeus, but they didn't have anyone that actually did a lot of damage. So Pool Bay makes it out. Nice reinforcements there from the rest of the team. Will it matter though, is generally the overarching question. And I don't think it will, Valdez.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny that after that play, they were all still kind of cowering in their own jungle, just eating spear damage. It kind of shows you the state of the game. Even after a couple of kills, it's like, well, we still don't have control. We still don't have map control. Is damage taken?
That's actually kind of insane.
How did he take so much damage?
He's been involved in almost every
died.
skirmish. No, that's the cool thing. He's also playing Nidalee, which is notoriously a champion that's really easy to die on.
Really easy to die on, very slippery, can avoid a lot of damage, and yet Owner finds a way to take the maximum amount of damage.
Actually, my favorite part of that graph was Gumayushi being lost, because he just hasn't interacted with people.
He's not playing the game right now, yeah.
Well, he is. He's playing Swarm.
Yeah, not playing the League of Legends game, let's say.
It's just promo. Here, look at that. No damage taken. Just wants to get his turrets, man.
Area is just here by himself as... I think he should be okay just because Owner is nearby and is level 12 as now the stun comes down onto Palu. And he's going to have to back away from this one. Bro looking for any picks they can get at all. As Guma has IE finished.
Yeah, T1 also still have a Herald, which we haven't really talked about yet, but that is a fact that we kind of neglected to mention. It's coming down mid here now.
Yeah, generally Herald's used to take like the mid-outer turrets.
And then maybe you do like a cool rotation to bot lane turn and then you pick that one up.
At best, yeah.
The net auto from Guma there doing half of Young Jay's health bar.
Yeah. Zyra also not very tanky.
No.
But he does have a giant spell now. That's going to help him a little bit.
That's nice. That's nice, Valdez.
That's nice, yeah. I like that for him.
The game isn't over yet, technically.
All right, fight over the Krugs. Tristana wins. Tristana always wins. Why is Faker allowed to play Tristana in this game?
We don't. We're not.
Why is he playing Tristana?
We're not supposed to have the answers to these questions, Valdez.
Maybe they saw the Yasuo and they're like, you know what? Maybe it's better that he just plays Tristana and not something else. But in this meta, I think you have to deny it.
So, on the upside for Breon, they are about to walk towards the Cloud Drake. I don't think they should. They should be able to take it. Although T1 might also just stay consistent with their planning and be like, we don't care. We're gonna like take top in here. But they are actually making their way. Well, they're contesting. They're bringing everyone. And if they bring everyone, Breon is 8k gold down. They should not be allowed to really do anything.
Palu had Celestial opposition when he got hit by that ult.
Okay, the poke. Envy.
Yeah, Karius flanking on Braum. A new kind of engaged Braum in this game.
He's so poor and got inspired.
Well, this Cloud Drake is going to be started up here by Bro. We have the first 5v5, the first real 5v5 as, Morgan going to cancel that one. And T1 don't seem to have a big interest in the Drake itself.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's just I told you!
They're actually just going for the init. They don't care about the Drakes. The Drakes are fake. They're false. They're not real.
Drakes can't hurt you, Valdez.
I can't see the Drakes. And now they're just going to start the Baron because of all the pressure they have. They might as well. They're so far ahead. 10,000 gold. Almost. 9,000. Close enough. Oh no, Kerry even gonna get in front of the True Shot barrage.
This is very early though, they don't have that much damage, maybe.
Where's Young Jae? He's not in position, he's not gonna get there on time. The slow is there and he just can't get in there to smite it as, now they're thinking about engaging as Envy getting a little bit close to the sun. A lot of traps here as well. Nice Magnus Storm, only gonna hit the Braum though, so not very nice actually. I take that back, cancel the nice. As now Zeus is going 1v2, 1v3 in the backline, gets the knockup, forces the flash, does die, as everybody is super low and Guma is charging into everybody, flashing forward onto Envy, and will take him down. And maybe T1 just end the game now.
They're not even playing the same game, Valdez. That's what we're witnessing here. I look at this game like, all things considered, Breon actually had a lot of great proactive moments. They did stuff, they banded together. It just doesn't matter. They are so far behind in Global Gold, and Youngjae obviously, only way he gets into the pit is flashing, but they're not in time, thanks to the traps and the zoning, and then here the engage from Palu, only finds frontline, doesn't really get a whole lot done. They gotta try something when all turrets are still standing at this point in time, and Zeus gives them a freebie, setting up for Guma, but I think this Nexus should drop.
All right, well, Palu
trap
behind enemy lines, which is their own lane. Faker is going to flash and jump away, and Zeus now 1v5 in the back line himself. I feel like a lot of T1 members are like, please just end the game already. I want to go home. As Zeus, oh no, still alive here, gonna get a heal from Owner. As Faker goes over the wall, they take out Envy, and you are right, Chronicler, this is not the same game that these two teams are playing. Keria goes down. Meanwhile, once again, Guma is frontlining against 4 people, and he doesn't have to care because they are just so far ahead.
Oh boy. I wonder what actually I don't think Guma got a final. Maybe it was the Collector plus red buff that got the kill. It wouldn't have mattered.
He's got 3 items.
He does.
Oh.
Yeah, he went in, right? Valdez?
Very proactive. Love that. And Morgan is going to go down, as will this turret on the Nexus. And Faker is just going to jump into them. T1 do not care, as Faker will take him down, and the Nexus will fall at 23.